I happened to watch a documentary the other day. It was called Wilderness, I think. Simon Reeve was the presenter, and he was journeying through the rainforest in the Congo. And the terrain was incredibly difficult, and he was sleeping outside, as you might expect, and putting up with a lot of hardship. And yet, eventually, he came across a group of people, a tribe who lived there, the Baka, people of the forest.
The Baka are some of the original first people of the Congo basin. They'd been here for tens of thousands of years before European colonists arrived in the 1800s and called them pygmies. Under Belgian and French rule, indigenous communities were persecuted, exploited and killed. Many retreated deeper into the forest. Today they have clothes and tools that are traded along the river. They hold on to their skills in their forest. It's their life, their way.
I was struck by how really clever, how smart they were, how they could build these shelters, how they could live off and within that land and survive and to a degree thrive. They were intelligent, they were hospitable, and I think they were really wise. It was, for me at least, an experience of feeling humbled by watching these brave, smart, wise people living in an environment that, I wouldn't last 2 minutes in. They had adapted. And yet the forest, the rainforest, was, of course, still incredibly hostile, as Simon and his colleague were experiencing on the route to the Baka people. But then, this is the point I'm getting to, where I just felt a great sense of sadness, disappointment, and dread slightly as well. Simon asked one of the people, I think the spokesperson,
what are the greatest challenges you face in the forest?
And I genuinely thought he would have said, well, it's this particular spider, or it's starvation, or it's a snake. But it wasn't that. So, in this forest that most people would find, if not inhospitable, perhaps also deadly, that they had survived in, and as I said, one could argue thrived in, the forest, the animals, the creatures, the humidity, the heat, the rain, whatever, it wasn't that was the biggest challenge. By a long way, it seemed to be other people.
The Baka used the word Bantu to describe the majority ethnic groups in Central Africa. They mostly live in permanent villages and towns.
And I thought, oh my goodness, look around right now. What are we seeing? There's horror, sadness, deprivation, conflict everywhere, it would seem. It's not everywhere, but it kind of seems like that. And I cannot help but think that unless we can step back from the brink, this little ball spinning around 1,000 miles an hour, circling the sun at 67,000, spiralling after the sun as it careers through the cosmos at 750,000 miles an hour, how fragile we are, whichever way you look at it. And yet we still cannot seem to get along. And I think one of the dangers is that we can become entrenched, sit in our own echo chambers, getting that dopamine hit when we find like-minded individuals. But are we right? Are we missing the ability to speak to the other people? Are we missing the opportunity to converse and dialogue?
When you hear him say this, how do you feel? You're a Bantu, aren't you? You're a Bantu?
Yeah, I would say I am a Bantu to them. I feel ashamed, and at the same time, I feel shocked and surprised. I think we are talking racism, we are talking discrimination.
And Elon Musk, and I've talked about this before, is of course intent on getting people to Mars. And you just got to ask yourself, why? Why? What would we end up creating there? And again, it's a question every time I hear about Mars that I come back to. If we don't solve things here, what do we then transport to Mars? You know, a McDonald's, fast food, banking, big business, whatever. But ultimately, in those things that we transport, unless we solve it, we will take with us the things that we're getting wrong here. For this species to survive and also meet up with other species in the galaxy out there, we have to be a beacon of something that is better than we are right now, of understanding, of technological advancement, of peace, of a collegiate mindset. Otherwise, what are we doing? What are we going to do? Destroy, corrupt, coerce, fall out with, wage war with? And yeah, there are times for all of us we have to defend ourselves. I'm not saying that that's not the case. What I am saying is that we have the opportunity to be better than we are, to take the mind, the intellect, the intelligence, and indeed, if we can apply it properly, the wisdom, and focus it not on war, not on conflict, but on advancement. Look at the health span of people, improve that, eradicate poverty, pain, suffering. Yes, I know it sounds a little bit like the old Miss World contests and what the contestant would say, world peace. I understand that. It was cheesy then, it's cheesy now. The road will be hard, it will be tough, it will not be easy. But we have to do it. If we don't do it and don't find ways to do it, and we need leaders who can help us get there, if we don't do it, then we're done for.
Their footprint is quite small and discreet, isn't it?
It is. You know, in the modern world, it's about how big you have, how much you have. For them, it's not the case. They have a very close relationship with this forest to the extent that they do not take what they want. They just take what they need.